Hi everybody. I'm just going to make a quick video about the second part of this project, what I used and really what I want from you. Because this is the second part of our project, there's not really going to be as many expectations because we already pretty much laid everything out on our paper. So this week, really all I did was I watercolored a bunch of the different quilt squares and the different colors. And I took some gel pens and I used my gel pens to detail a couple of things on my drawing, adding a little bit of shininess, just like Gustav Klimt did with his artwork, with gold leaf, of course, and not gel pens, but same difference, right? So, as I said before, the things that I used for this project were watercolor and gel pens. If you don't have gel pens at home, of course, you don't have to use them for this project. I just know a lot of you do have gel pens. So I thought, why not use gel pens for this project? So my only expectation is really that you fill the whole page with color and make something that you're proud of. I guess that would be an expectation every week, but make it look good. I want you to be happy with your project in the end. But that's all I have for you this week. We're going to finish up this project and start a new one next week. So let's get started with the second part. All right, my pals, let's make it happen. I'm getting rid of some of these pencil lines that were on my paper, just so when I get to watercoloring, it's all clean and ready to go. At this point, I'm getting my watercolors out and getting ready to start painting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to contrast colors. So you'll see I'm adding some red here to the place where I had some bluish and green or bluish and green crayon, because green and red are contrasting colors. I'm going to do this all around because I think that it will just make my crayon stand out nicely. I'm doing the same here where I'm adding some sort of gold and yellow to the place where I put purple. And lastly, where I put pink, I'm adding a little bit of green, because even though red is the contrast to green, pink and green work as a nice contrast as well. Alright, I'm speeding up this part a little bit because I think you all know how to use watercolors to make them nice and bright by adding more color pigment and less water to it, or doing multiple layers with less water and more color. I also end up experimenting with some Crayola markers for my paint rather than watercolors. And I do that right around here. It didn't look as good, and I ended up dipping my Crayola markers in some water to get them flowing a little bit better, because Crayola markers are water-based. I wanted to show you that you could use markers if you wanted to, but it turns out that, of course, the watercolor looks better than the markers when you do stuff like this. After the first time, it didn't really work out. I don't know why I went ahead and did another one, but I did end up doing these colors. My paper didn't take very well to all the pressure, I think, from the markers. So if you can avoid doing this, I would. But I like to experiment with different things to show you guys that, there's room for experimenting with this work. You can just see how much better the watercolor looks as opposed to the markers. Here I end up watering down some brown and adding a little bit of red and white, and that's how I make my skin tone. And then I do my hair with like a brownish yellow color. Okay, here I'm going to start doing the background of, I guess, the bed that we'd all be sleeping on for this project. And I'm just doing a light wash of color with that. And I'll do the same for the pillow. And once I've done that, I'll be pretty much done. I'm going to take some time after that to let my piece dry a little bit, because after I let my piece dry, I'm going to go in with some gel pens and try to spice it up a little bit with those. Again, I'm using contrasting colors here, orange and blue. It looks really nice, but you don't have to use contrasting colors. It's not one of the expectations. Here I'm going in with my gel pens. I'm drawing some little squares because I noticed on Gustav Klimt's work he had some little squares inside of squares. And I was wishing after I did this that I did it a little bit more authentic to what his work actually looks like. So that's what I was kind of doing, adding the squares. Some other details he uses a lot are triangles, which I'm going to do right here. And he also does some eyes and big swirls, also checkerboard sort of things. And when you'll have class with me, we'll look at all of those details together. But if you don't have class with me or you're not able to join my class while we talk about this, I would suggest going and looking up his paintings again and taking note of some of those patterns that he does on there. Because in the end, it does look a little bit better. I mean, we're looking at this guy's artwork because it's so nice. So I think, if you want to follow some of his patterns, that's a great idea. But here I'm almost just kind of doodling. And one of you commented on this post and said that these remind you of Zentangles, and I totally agree with that. It's very free-flowing, very doodly. Oh, I also wanted to point this out. I tried to use some paint pens, like metallic paint pens. My paper did not take well to this, so I would avoid using these and just use gel pens. Here I'm making some of these circles I made into eyes, which I mentioned before I think is a more common pattern that Gustav Klimt does. And I'm also coloring in some of those squares I made in the background. The squares came out okay. I wanted to fill up this piece with pattern, but I think if I did this, it'd almost be better to just take some acrylic paint and cover up the whole thing with gold. I would say that too. If you have any metallic paint and you want to paint that area gold, I think that's a great idea. I don't have any metallic paint at home, so I wasn't able to use it, but I think my metallic gel pens worked just fine. If you don't have either of those things, then you don't, and you don't have to use them. I just really like gel pens, so I happen to have a lot of them. I sped up a little bit here because I think you all know how to color in the lines and make things look nice. I just wanted to remind you some of the ideas that we could have for patterns here is we could have an idea for some nice squares inside squares or triangles with little dots in them. You could do eyes, you could do swirls that are sort of attached to each other, or big blocks of metallic color if you have, like I said before, if you have metallic paint, also checkerboards, things like that. So all of those would be a good idea. He also uses flowers a lot, but they're sort of abstracted flowers. And once again, you can just look up Gustav Klimt, or you could just look up Klimt, and I'm sure his work will come up. So we're getting towards the end here. I'm actually really excited to see all these projects from you guys because I just think that there's so many fun possibilities, and I've already received some really great work from all of you. So while I continue to doodle with these gel pens, I'll remind you of what I said in the beginning, which is to fill the page with color and make something you're proud of. So I hope you're able to do that. Thanks for watching. Bye!